Hello everyone, welcome to another video for the One Piece trading card game. In this video, we will be reviewing the Mono Yellow starter deck along with the Mono Yellow starter deck leader, Charlotte Linlin. Let's get started. Charlotte Linlin is a special attribute for Emperors and Big Mom Pirates trait leader. She starts with 5 life and is mono yellow. She has the effect Don X2 when attacking. You may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life area to your hand. If your life is at 2 or less, you may place 1 card from your hand at the top of your life area. Looking at the way yellow is designed, it seems that it wants to interact a lot with yours and your opponent's life. This effect lets you set the top of your life to be a certain trigger, although it only does it when you're at a lower life, which can be a little risky. Compared to the other yellow leaders, I don't think that this is the worst one, but it's definitely not the best. I'd rather play one of the 2-color yellow leaders since they seem the most interesting. But I do think that this is better than Katakuri, even though Katakuri just has a standard effect. He doesn't really help you go through and look through your life. He only lets you just look at it. You can't add them to hand, which is why Linlin is at a little bit of an advantage. Since this is a starter deck, we also get to look at the starter deck super rares. The first one is going to be Katakuri. Katakuri is a 4 cost 6k with the strike attribute and the Big Mom Pirates trait. He has the ability, on play, look at up to 1 life card from the top of your or your opponent's life area, and put it either on the top or bottom of the life area. Then, if you have less life cards than your opponent, this character gains Rush. The advantage of Katakuri is the ability to put the top card of your opponent's life to the bottom, which is very good when you consider that he's going to be coming in and swinging right away. Decks that play Katakuri want to have lower life than their opponent. When we look at the deck list I have for this Linlin, you'll see that it's based on having lower life than your opponent, which I think for the mono yellow leaders, since they're not as good as the 2-color leaders, that they'll be a little more interesting build arounds and not so much really good shells to play. And I think the have less life than your opponent shell isn't the best, but I do think it is alright, and Katakuri is one of the main reasons for it. The next super rare is going to be a Charlotte Linlin. This is a 7 cost 8k with the special attribute and the 4 Emperors and Big Mom Pirates traits. She has the effect, on play, your opponent chooses one of the following effects. Trash 1 life card from the top of your opponent's life area, or put 1 card from the top of your deck on the top of your life area. This card's insane. I don't know why they printed this card. That's it. Like, it's a 7 cost 8k, which yes, it gets hit by things like Mihawk, sure. But it says your opponent discards the top of their life, or you gain a life. So for 7 mana, it's putting you ahead 1 damage. Which, in a deck like Yellow, about manipulating life, that's a really strong effect. This card will probably see play in every Yellow deck going forward, because this card just seems so good. Even though it can be a little slow, if it does go to an aggressive format, they'll just take a life to trash and keep applying the pressure. If you can slow the game down, like yellow seemingly is able to do because of how much card draw they're going to have, and you'll see that when we look at the deck list. This card is absolutely crazy, so watch out for it. Next, we have the deck built with just 2 of the mono yellow starter decks. This deck includes 4 Pudding, 4 Peckhams, 4 Mont d'Or, 4 Brûlée, 4 Zeus, 4 Prometheus, 4 Daifuku, 4 Katakuri, 4 Snack, 4 Linlin, 4 Power Mochi, 4 Soul Pocus, and 2 Queen Mama Shanter. Looking at this starter deck, there are a lot of cards that you will end up seeing in most yellow decks going forward. The main ones here being the super rare Linlin, Soul Pocus, and Daifuku. I've already talked about Linlin, but Soul Pocus is the same effect that doesn't come with the body and has trigger, which arguably makes it stronger since you can put it on the top of your life area. I don't know why Soul Pocus was made either. I guess they just wanted to push yellow, which it definitely seems really pushed. Daifuku is a 4-cost 5k with Don X1 when attacking. Add the top card of your life to your hand and then put the top card of your deck into your life. He is card draw all the way. There is another card that is the same thing. So you have 8 cards that say when this attacks, draw a card. Well, pretty much draw a card, which I don't know why. Power Mochi is a pretty good counter. It lets you look at the top of life, and it has a pretty good trigger. Power Mochi is a decent card. And then Zeus and Prometheus will see play in every Linlin deck because of their strength. When we look at the mono yellow deck with cards from the first 3 sets, you won't see 4 of them since that's a more aggressive deck. Zeus and Prometheus are better in a slower deck. But when we look at the black-yellow one, you will understand why these cards might be a problem. They both have Activate Main, Rest It, give a Linlin, any Linlin. It could be your leader, it could be one of the super rares. Zeus gives it Banish, and Prometheus gives Double Attack. And then they both have Trigger, put this into play. So, if you have it in life, it comes into play. Then you just hit your opponent, and you do so much. The rest of this deck is alright. You won't see Katakuri in many decks. He's in this one because he's a starter deck super rare, and he's in the deck with cards from the set because he is about having less life. Snack is okay. He's not the best card, but he's still playable. And Mont d'Or is pretty good, but there are better cards you could be playing instead of Mont d'Or. Next is the deck list of cards, not only from the starter deck, but also cards from the sets. This deck includes 4 Set 3 Pudding, 4 Set 3 Sanji, 3 Parasparrow, 3 Zeus, 3 Prometheus, 2 Napoleon, 4 Daifuku, 4 Cracker, 4 Starter Deck Katakuri, 4 Snack, 3 Starter Deck Linlin, 2 Set 3 Linlin, 3 Ikoku Sovereignty, 3 Buzzcut Mochi, and 4 Soul Pocus. Looking at this deck, you can see some tools we played from the starter deck that I've already talked about. Linlin, Katakuri, Soul Pocus, Snack, Prometheus, Zeus, and Daifuku. Some of the main things in the set that I want to talk about are the Sanji, Napoleon, Parasparrow, and the Set 3 Linlin. Let's start with Sanji. Sanji's a 2-mana 3k that's also 2k counter, and he has, when attacking, do the Daifuku effect. Daifuku and Sanji are card draw. You play them in every yellow deck you can. Perospero is not very good. Originally, when he was shown, I thought he'd be pretty good, but him being on KO makes him a little bad. Yes, he's a 3 mana 5k, which the starter deck needed, which is why we were on 4 Peckhams, but Perospero isn't amazing. He's just a body. Although for this deck he is fine, since we do need 3 mana 5ks, since the rest of our 3 drops are going to be ways to make our leader better. Napoleon joins Zeus and Prometheus as the other homies. Napoleon gives a Linlin plus 1k. He is the weakest since he's not in effect, but the 1k isn't terrible. The set 3 Linlin is like the set 1 Kaido, where it's a 10 cost 12k. This Linlin's effect is if your leader is Big Mom Pirates, you just get both of the starter deck Linlin effects, which is good, but is limited since it is 10 resources. That's why it's not on 3 copies like the other one. This one is extremely slow, being 10 mana, plus you don't get the hold up protection, and this deck is only on Sovereignty because if you're playing Linlin, the 7 mana one, and say you put 1 Don on like a Daifuku, you'll have 2 resources remaining for Ikoku, and the trigger on it isn't bad. The other new cards in this deck that we haven't seen yet, Pudding is the Searcher. She gets a Big Mom Pirate or a Sanji, and she's only top 4, so do note that. She is only top 4. But since every yellow card, except like maybe 5, are a Big Mom Pirate or a Sanji, she gets everything. Cracker is a set super rare. He's pretty good. I wouldn't say he's bad. He's definitely in decks because he's a 4 cost 5k with counter that has a good effect. So he's not terrible if you have him play him in most yellow decks. And then Buzzcut Mochi is some removal that helps with our have less life than our opponent theme, as well as it lets us put in a Cracker from our hand or a Perospero or any of the homies if we take it off life and use the trigger. So it itself isn't too bad. I want to thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. In the future, I might be not doing as much One Piece content. It's been getting a little harder to play with classes starting up for me, as well as I've mainly been trying to play Flesh and Blood, and luckily the Flesh and Blood video I uploaded seemingly was well received, so I'll probably switch over to doing that. I think I'm going to try to rush out these set 3 videos just so I can have them up, because if I did start it, I do want to finish it, but in the future, I think I will be switching to Flesh and Blood content, since that's a game I can play a lot easier, and in the future we could come back. I might do a few special One Piece videos if a character I really like gets shown. Someone like Chopper, he's my favorite. But just letting you know now that in the foreseeable future, this channel will be switched to Flesh and Blood. But with that said, I hope you all had a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.